When was the last time you went for a walk? When was the last time you saw someone walking on a busy road? Have you ever paid attention to the way roads were designed? Good evening. My name is Anne-Marie Georgie, and I'm in 10th grade. If there's one thing you should know about me, is I love urban planning and finding ways to make the places where we live better. Did you know that on average, in a Western city, at least 40% of its space is dedicated to just parking? That's ridiculous, right? So much space in the places where we live is dedicated to just our cars. I love going for walks. Usually, it's for some fresh air, walking to my favorite study spot, or buying some groceries my mom needs. Most of the reasons I said were only possible because where I live is a pretty commercial and busy spot, so there's lots to do. When I tell my friends that I'm able to walk to all these places and do all these things, they tell me how lucky I am, because where they live, it's just empty suburbs. There's nothing to do at all. The closest grocery store to them is a 10-minute drive on the highway. All of this just to buy some groceries. Think about all the pollution and gas going into our environment from just that one drive. In 2022, the average American was responsible for emitting over 14.4 metric tons of CO2 gas. Most of this gas came from just cars. Cars usually emit about 4.6 metric tons of CO2 gas per year. And car drivers experience 8 times more pollution than a cyclist or pedestrian does. It's been proven over and over again that walking is great for our health. It's good for our mental health, our physical health, and overall us as human beings. So why don't more people walk to their destinations? Well, over 76% of commuters commute to work by car, and the average commute lasts for about 25 minutes. Many surveys have shown that Americans feel trapped in their cars. They don't enjoy it at all. People spend so much time in their cars because they have to. They have no other choice. They don't have access to public transportation in their areas. Walking isn't an option, or biking would just take too long. So the end result is driving. Infrastructure is defined as the physical foundation or framework of an area. The infrastructure we live in prioritizes the cars and not the people driving them. I'm only 15 years old and I don't have my license yet. Because of this, I have to rely on rides from my parents or someone else to get somewhere. This means I have to plan events around if I can or cannot get a ride. This is extremely inconvenient, not just for me, but to the person I'm asking a ride for. Why is this? I think we can all agree that Europe does a lot of things right. What I love about almost all European countries is that they prioritize the people and their infrastructure and not the cars. They promote using public transportation, biking, and walking. As the roads are super tight and most places don't allow cars. Because of this, people don't own cars and they save so much money because of this. For example, my cousins live in Germany. To get to school, there aren't any school buses, so they have to rely on either using public transportation, biking to school, or walking. And this is in a lot of European schools too. They don't have any school buses. And kids as young as the age of 7 start using public transportation by themselves, so they never rely on getting a ride anywhere. So that means they're always out with their friends, trying new places, and always having a great time. So, what is the main cause of this problem? So what can we do to fix this issue? Well, one of the main problems of this issue of our car-dependent infrastructure is zoning laws. As I stated earlier, 40% of our space is dedicated to just parking. This is because zoning laws require buildings to have as many parking spaces as their building can hold. So this is why we always see one minuscule building with tons of parking spaces. Furthermore, we should improve the zoning laws that promote denser development and less parking spaces. We should design communities with multiple ways of getting around, such as access to public transportation, improved, smoother sidewalks, and bike lanes. This ensures that citizens have multiple ways of getting around that are affordable, efficient, and eco-friendly. But now, what can you do in your everyday life to fix this disadvantage of our car-dependent infrastructure? Well, first, if you're going to a big event that you know a lot of people are going to, start carpooling. This helps emit less CO2 gas into our environment as less people are driving. If you're going somewhere that's less than a 5-minute drive, start walking there. If more people start walking to their destination, then they might improve the sidewalks and add more sidewalks to our roads. If you're going somewhere that's a bit further away, consider using public transportation. If more people start using public buses, then they might improve the bus and start expanding the lines of the bus too. In addition, if you're spending your night downtown, start using the train. This is much quicker and efficient as there's no traffic, and it's much more affordable as you don't need to pay for parking. Luckily enough, many cities are now prioritizing the people in their infrastructure and not their cars. For example, in Portland, Oregon, they're promoting using public transportation, biking, and walking. Portland is currently working to prioritize the people in their cities and not their cars. To end off, this type of infrastructure is not only bad for our environment, but our mental health, our physical health, bank accounts, and time. But there are many fixes that you can do in your everyday life to overcome this. Thank you for listening, and I hope you realize that our infrastructure is designed for our cars and not for us. I hope that you can make a change to make the places where we live better for all of us. Thank you for coming, and have a great night.